Have you ever noticed how your voice changes when you're tired or you're tense and you're hypermobile? Did you want to know what's going on here? Let me explain. It's not going to be a long video, but let me explain to you what's going on. So your vocal cords are like guitar strings. They're attached, and just like guitar strings, the tension changes. They can change, the tension of vocal cords change because they are also connected to muscles. And of course, ligaments, all the muscles can get connected to the bones with with tendons. So we have these muscles that the vocal cords are attached to, and those are in the back of your throat. And as you talk, the tension of those muscles change. Therefore, your voice changes. The tension in your voice changes. You start high, and then you end up going like that at the end. And so that fluctuation is a very, very common thing that I see with my hypermobile patients. I think I see it enough that I've started noticing it in myself. But back to hypermobility, the reason that's happening is because of what I just explained. So are you able to change that? The answer is yes. One of the things that is very common with hypermobility is you take one long breath and you say everything in that one breath. That's not a good thing. That is one of the things that happens in my practice that I change in my practice. I want to see that change in my patients. I treat joint hypermobility, and even though vocal cords not part of what I do, but I do see changes in the voices because by addressing the stability of the neck, treating CCI, craniocervical instability, or AAI, which is atlantoaxial instability, by treating joint instability, we start seeing the changes in more than just the joints. Managing hypermobility starts with movement, safe movement, and that happens to be, I'm lucky enough that happens to be the first line of trying to make the changes for better. So when you start taking more frequent breaths instead of one long breath and you kind of run out of breath and you lose your voice, and that will make a change. When you start talking differently and talking deeper and getting your voice coming out from deeper parts of your throat, when you start changing the tongue positioning in your mouth, when you start addressing the head positioning over your neck, all of these will impact more than just your vocal cords, but all of those play a role. Developmental exercises are so important because all the instabilities that I deal with treating joint hypermobility are all addressed using developmental exercises. The same exercises that got you and I and every walking human being on the planet Earth to go from that helpless infant stage where we could barely hold our heads up to become running toddlers. No bands, no gyms, no weights, no guidance, and yet we all did the same thing. So when you learn how to stabilize your joints by doing developmental exercises, by understanding what principles of movements are, and by learning how to apply those principles across all your movements, your stress level goes down, you manage your hypermobility better, your activity level goes up, your mood changes, and everything else that may be impacted by your hypermobility, regardless of if you have EDS, HSD, or what. Then you start seeing the changes for better. And that's what this channel is all about. I want you to understand that hypermobility is not a death sentence. You 100% can control what that looks like in your life, and there is 100% hope for better. My practice is just an example of what you can have out there. Invest in understanding those principles, apply it across all your activities, and you will see the benefits. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you contact me if you need help with your joint hypermobility. And until next time, take care.